owner of the Millionaire house in Texas, ally of Eduardo Bolsonaro, declared $164,000 in assets. He's the one who says he's the owner of the house there in Texas, which is worth $3,600,000,000. He claims to own the house, but with what money did he buy it? No, because he needs to have money. You need to have a source of funds to buy it. Here it is. Look, he is very close to Eduardo Bolsonaro, okay? And that's Andre Porciuncula. He is very close to Eduardo Bolsonaro and Mario Frias. I reiterate, he was the Secretary of Cultural Promotion during the Bolsonaro government, and he was subordinate to Mario Frias, the executive director of the film. Okay? And he is very close to Eduardo Bolsonaro. Eduardo Bolsonaro, incredibly enough, according to the contract leaked by The Intercept, he was also the executive director and financial director of the film. Who? Eduardo Bolsonaro. And this front man here, to me, he's a front man, says he's the owner of the house that was bought by the fund that received money from Daniel Vorcaro. Oh, and there are people who believe these folks, right? And then the question remains, is Bolsonaro's movie a fiction or a faction? Fiction. I'm asking you. A true criminal organization that said, no, I know. We need to launder money. We need to distribute the money from the Banco Master scheme. Let's make the movie because movies are expensive. Let's inflate the movie's budget. Let's put in a bunch of companies, a bunch of straw men, and we won't say it's for the movie. And we divert the money, and that's it. We can launder the money and receive the money from the mafia, from Daniel Vorcar's gang. Is that it, Andrea? I'm asking you. Is it a fiction movie or is it a criminal gang? What a detail. Go ahead. Just pull on that thread and the whole operation will come out, because this criminal mafia, in my view, has connections in Rio de Janeiro with Claudio Castro, in the Federal District, Brasilia, with Ibanez Rocha, and in São Paulo, especially with Ricardo Nunes and Tarcísio de Freitas. The federal police will have to find out, but we already know a lot of things. And Daniel Vorcar is also involved with the militia and the Jogo do Bicho over in Rio de Janeiro. And he might be involved in that refit mafia over in Rio de Janeiro of the gas stations, together with Claudio Castro, who belongs to the same political group as who? Who? Flávio Bolsonaro. In Brasilia Federal District, Ibanez Rocha in Brasilia Federal District belongs to the same political group as who? Who? Bolsonaro, Flávio Bolsonaro, Bolsonarist, who took Banco Master and injected 12 billion from the public bank into the hands of that devil Daniel Vorcaro, buying bad stocks. That's when the scheme finally collapsed, because the scandal was huge. Ibanez Rocha in Brasilia, in the Federal District, is from the same political group as Flávio Bolsonaro. And now we have São Paulo. The police are investigating privatizations where groups of companies belonging to Daniel Vorcaro benefited from the privatizations carried out by Tarcísio de Freitas. The police are investigating this. And now we find out that Ricardo Nunes, the mayor of São Paulo, belongs to the same political group as who, guys? Flávio Bolsonaro and Bolsonaro. Ricardo Nunes, the mayor of São Paulo, signed a contract with Karina's company for 108 million reais, advance payment, and she never worked in the field covered by the public contract she won. Who is this Karina Andrea? For God's sake, she's the executive producer of the film in Brazil. What a coincidence, Andrea. But that's just a coincidence, Andrea. Okay. She won a bidding process for a service she had never done before, worth 108 million reais from São Paulo City Hall. Okay. Coincidence? Okay. She received more than 8 million reais from an NGO that also belongs to her. Look, she has an NGO, a non-profit organization that supports culture and all that, Andrea, and I think you got something like 8 million. Guess from whom? From legislative earmarks. Mario Frias. Oh. Ramaj, Alexandra Ramaj is over there in the United States. For all we know, he might even be bankrolled with Daniel Gorcaro's money. He's a fugitive, wanted by the law. Bia Kicis, Marcos Polon, a Bolsonaro supporter, and Carla Zambelli. Coincidence, Andrea, coincidence. You don't know the best part. She is the sole owner of GoUp, the film production company, the one behind Bolsonaro's movie in Brazil. Jesus? She had never made a movie in her life. And she was hired to make Bolsonaro's multi-million-dollar movie. No way. And now another coincidence. No, and another one, the photo I showed you yesterday. She was at the inauguration in 2018.
E 18.
At the inauguration, no, at the certification ceremony in December 2018, celebrating whose certification? Guess? Mario Frias, federal deputy executive director of the film, who became Bolsonaro's minister of culture. This whole scheme, look, it's old. Who authorized Banquinho Maxima to become Banco Master? Who authorized it? Another coincidence. The president of the central bank, Campos Neto, a Bolsonaro supporter.
De Bolsonaro.
In 2020, oh, it's just a coincidence. Look at that. And the scheme around the film, they've always wanted to make. Guys, help me out, okay? No, help me, otherwise it gets difficult. Ancine is investigating the production of a film about the life of Jair Bolsonaro. The National Film Agency, Ancine, has opened an investigation into the production of the film that portrays the political life of former President Jair Bolsonaro, entitled Dar Rose. The production company could be fined up to 100,000. According to the agency, foreign films, foreign shoots made in Brazil must be reported in advance. However, the production company for the biographical film about Bolsonaro was not reported to Ancine. Nothing was reported to Ancine about the Bolsonaro film that had scenes shot in Brazil. In fact, there were complaints filed with the Ministry of Labor about very degrading conditions there. No food, no basic facilities, nothing. And this was a multi-million-dollar film. That's the situation. And I believe that the film will be blocked and that it won't be shown in Brazil before the elections. Especially because it's necessary to know how much it cost, who paid for it, and where the money went. That's the situation. All right? Let's go over a few quick points here before we move on to audience participation. NGO linked to Bolsonaro's biopic becomes a target of the São Paulo Civil Police. The NGO is run by journalist Karine Marina Gama Ferreira, who is also connected to the production company GoUp Entertainment, responsible for the biopic about former President Bolsonaro. That's what I ask. Is it fiction or a faction, right? NGO linked to the production company of the film about Bolsonaro submitted 16.5 million in irregular invoices from the São Paulo City Hall. The investigation revealed the use of canceled invoices, receipts without fiscal value, and even documents issued by the NGO itself to justify million-dollar expenses between 2024 and 2025. In one case, the organization submitted 4 invoices without fiscal validity to prove expenses of 8.5 million for the rental of electronic equipment. Lawmakers from São Paulo sent 8 million in budget earmarks to film-related NGOs. Public funds from amendments sent to the organization linked to the producer of Bolsonaro's film have come under the scrutiny of Minister Flávio Dino. This, in fact, led to the opening of a new police investigation, which was ordered by Minister Flavio Dino, exactly to investigate the transfer of these millions here to Karina's NGO, which signed a contract worth 108 million with the Sao Paulo City Hall to provide internet in a community where she had never worked with that before. The same Karina who is producer of the movie, etc., and it's pa. Then this came up, right? In fact, Flavio Dino is looking for Mario Frias, but they can't find him to serve him with a summons to clarify. Mario Frias is in the United States. Flavio Dino informed and notified the Chamber of Federal Deputies to explain, and the Chamber of Federal Deputies explained that he requested authorization to go to the United States and that the authorization is under review. But actually, he already left and said he will return on the 25th. If there was no authorization, will the chamber still pay? He's in the United States. What do you think he's doing there, Andrea? They're coordinating what their speech will be, what our statement will be, what we're going to say, because things are going to get rough. That must be it, right? He's over there in the United States. Meanwhile, Daniel Volcaro agrees to raise the amount to be returned in a possible plea bargain with the Attorney General from 40 billion to 60 billion. That's what I told you all. The Attorney General demanded more money to consider a new plea deal and give Volcaro another chance. Let's see if he's really going to spill the beans. Mendonça votes to keep Volcaro's cousin in prison. Gilmar requests a review. And Gilmar requested a review of this situation. Hey, Gilmar, we're watching you. We're keeping an eye on you. Volcaro's defense asked the Supreme Court for a transfer to Papudinha. And now, breaking news just in. Daniel Volcaro's defense has just dropped the case. His lawyer just left the case. He's out. Why does this happen? It often happens because the guy says one thing and then something else comes out. Then the lawyer can't even defend him. And that could be it, right? He's hiding things even from his lawyer. Could it be? Whoa. Mario Frias tells Flavio Dino that he will arrive in Brazil on May 25th. That's right. He's on his tail, you know? The minister is on Flavio Dino's tail. Flavio Dino is on the congressman's tail. He's going to have to explain a lot of things. Risk of escape. Federal police called to seize Flavio Bolsonaro's passport, who is planning a trip to the United States. Congressman Raymond from the Workers' Party from Rio de Janeiro points out that Flavio Bolsonaro, who announced he would go to the United States to try to meet with Trump, may use the trip to escape justice. Amid the investigations into his relationship with Daniel Volcaro, I've already said it and I'll say it again. We have to keep an eye on him. We have to keep an eye on him or else he'll escape. And if he escapes, we're in trouble. It'll be hard to catch him. Meanwhile, the Italian courts will hear an appeal this Friday against Carla Zambelli's extradition. It's the last one for Carla Zambelli. It's over. In fact, Alexandre de Moraes yesterday requested that all measures be taken for the extradition of Carla Zambelli. I believe that Carla Zambelli, at the latest by the beginning of next month, will already be extradited to Brazil and justice will be served and she will go to jail. She will go to Papuda. Here, it's the Colmeia. The Colmeia is the women's version of Papuda. Meanwhile, the White House doesn't know Flavio Bolsonaro's agenda with Trump. The supposed meeting between the PL's presidential pre-candidate and the President of the United States began to be publicized by the senator's supporters. Actually, Flavio Bolsonaro is desperate for Trump to meet with him. For what, Andre? To see if he can create a smokescreen and lessen the impact of the scandal. But I've already told you and I'll say it again. If he manages to meet with Trump right after the meeting, the bomb will go off. Another revelation will come out because he won't be able to hide it. He can meet with Santa Claus, he can meet with Jesus, and he can meet with whoever he wants, and he won't be able to hide the bombshell from anyone. And no one will stop asking what needs to be asked. Meanwhile, a new poll came out. An increase of 4.5 points. Lula is up almost 5 points in this new poll from Futura Apex. Flavio Bolsonaro drops and Lula starts to lead the Futura Apex polls by a wide margin, my dear. And this Futura Apex is kind of out there, you know? But even so, Lula is up almost 5 points on Flavio Bolsonaro. And in this new poll that came out today, and what do I think? I think it's not enough, literally. Go ahead and hit the like button, like it, leave a comment, and let's check out some reactions here. Let's keep moving forward. There's more coming. There's no beating around the bush here. What we have here are facts and connections. We went in search of justice. Watch, watch, watch.
Bolsonarism, what a thing.
Flavio, stop right there. Come here, Bolsonarism. Let's see here. Listen, what a thing.
What a shame. If Bolsonarism tries to fool you, I won't let it. A news article is circulating on social media saying that the federal police closed cases against Flavio Bolsonaro due to lack of evidence. Well, that article really did exist. You know when? In 2020, when the federal police closed a case against Flavio Bolsonaro, who was being investigated in an electoral case for false statements in 2020-2100. 6 years later, Bolsonarism tries to polish Flavio Bolsonaro's image and remove the mess he got himself into with a close friendship that he tried to hide. With the biggest banking fraudster in Brazil, in the Brazilian banking system, Daniel Vorcaro, they take this old article from 6 years ago to try to fool you, to say, see that? Our candidate is squeaky clean. The federal police closed the case. Bolsonarist fake news. What a shameful thing, using the same weapons that we used to accuse our opponents of. Yeah, look at the point we've reached, huh? By the way, all of this happened in 2020, okay? The federal police closed this case against Flavio Bolsonaro without lifting secrecy, without witness confrontations. Obviously, when President Bolsonaro was the president of Brazil, he didn't allow the federal police to investigate his family or his friends, as he himself said in a cabinet meeting. After all, if the federal police closing cases against someone is a synonym for honesty, then isn't he honest or not? Bolsonarism's fake news, what a disgrace. If Bolsonarism tries to fool you, I won't let it. It's going around on social media. Whoa.
That's a lot of lies, huh? They're spreading old stuff around to say that he's out of the investigation, that he has nothing to do with it, and so on and so on. It's a lie. That's from the early 2000s when Bolsonaro was president and protected Flavio Bolsonaro from the Rachadinha case, remember? Yeah, that's not true, no. That's not true. Let's stay alert to this situation. And breaking news, I just told you that Flavio Bolsonaro's lawyer left the case, didn't I? Hey, yes, Vorcaro's lawyer left the case, didn't he? Yes, and why? According to the information, Vorcaro decided to spill the beans. And he's gonna bolster the cooperation agreement and reveal everything. From what it seems, the meeting where Flavio asked for protection, apparently according to what people are saying in Brasilia, in the halls and behind the scenes, it's not going to work out, right? Is that it? I don't know. I just know that all hell is breaking loose in Brasilia. Let's take a look at another statement here that's important in the context of everything that's happening in Brasilia, my dear.
Flavio Bolsonaro's excuse is this: it's private money. Private money can be criminal money. Even if it were Rouanet law funds, which require accountability, that's private money. Where does private money come from? From the retirees of Rio de Janeiro, because the money that was in Banco Marshall was the retirees' money from Rio de Janeiro. It was money from corruption, money from fraud, money from crime. That was the private money that was there. Flavio last week gave an interview outside the Supreme Court and a reporter spoke with him. Then come here, did you like the money, he said, and he insults the reporter. At night, the audio comes out, him asking for money. And now, another piece of information came out that Vorcaro, he was arrested on November 17th, released on the 28th, and on the 29th, Flavio went to visit him. That was it. I'll just make a call. But there's also Mario Frias saying on the same day that he had a conversation with Vorcaro, thanking him for the help. On the same day, Flavio said he went to announce there would be no help.
And the argument that he supposedly talked to Forcaro before knowing who he was.
He was released, he was in jail. Flavio likes to visit inmates. Captain Adriano da Nobrega, the good militiaman. Flavio awarded him the Tiradentes Medal, which was delivered in prison. Bancomar became what it is now during Bolsonaro's government, thanks to actions at the central bank under his administration. When will they fall? This stopped happening under Lula's government when Haddad was minister. Or wasn't it? Or am I crazy?
You're not crazy, you're right. It only fell because Lula won the elections, otherwise this fraud would have continued. Maybe that's why Daniel Forcaro became, through Fabiano Zettel, the main financier of Bolsonaro's campaign. That could be it, right? And who was it that asked Daniel Forcaro for money? It wasn't Lula. It wasn't Lulinha. It wasn't anyone from the PT. Not who asked. Who was demanding money from Daniel Forcaro? Who was Daniel Forcaro? So that already says a lot, doesn't it? For those who want the truth. For those who don't want the truth, well, my dear, you could show them stealing right there and they still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they want to believe what they want to believe. But who was it that demanded money from Daniel Forcaro? It wasn't me. Was it you? Who was it? That's right.
Just to be clear, it wasn't anyone from President Lula's government who asked Mr. Daniel Forcaro for 143 million reais in an audio message. Mr. President, the 3 million reais campaign contribution from Mr. Daniel Forcaro did not go to President Lula's campaign. Mr. President, there wasn't any lawmaker from President Lula's governing coalition who made an amendment to a bill to benefit Mr. Daniel Forcaro's bank. Where is this happening? You have a pig's snout, a pig's tail, a pig's body, and this pig does not belong to President Lula's government. It became increasingly clear that the Bolsonaro family's schemes and Banco Master are not just related. It's more serious than that. They are the same thing. They are part of the same package. There is no difference between them. Just to make it very clear.
Not breaking news. Breaking news. All hell is breaking loose, folks. Andre Mendonça just authorized Daniel Forcaro to return to the master suite at the Federal Police Headquarters. What does that mean, Andre? It means he spilled the beans and turned everyone in. He changed his lawyer and said he was going to sweeten his plea deal. And now Andre Mendonça has decided that he's going to leave the regular jail cell and can go back to the master suite at the Federal Police Headquarters. Now it just happened. This signals that he started talking. Flavio Bolsonaro is screwed. And don't doubt that soon there will be court-ordered precautionary measures against Flavio Bolsonaro. I'm talking about electronic ankle bracelets, search and seizure, asset blocking, and other situations. Things are getting crazy in Brasilia. All hell's breaking loose. Why? We want justice. And we know this is just the beginning of this whole very serious situation. Let's go to another statement here.
Shall we analyze together the timeline of Flavio Bolsonaro's shamelessness in the case of the millions from Forcaro? The script is always the same. First, the Bolsonaro supporters deny it, then they contradict themselves, and in the end, they're disproved by the very evidence. In March, Flavio denied that the scandal would reach the right, here in this video. He hides the fact that he had already asked Daniel Forcaro for the millions and had also already made that visit to the banker. Take a look. This scene.
He can't really see you because you can't keep up with this false narrative that Lula has created.
That's why, Nos Protesietlim, this magic countermark hasn't come anywhere near the right. We defend this, just like in the parliamentary inquiry.
Did you notice? He says that everything is a narrative. He talks about the parliamentary inquiry into Banco Master and tries to pose as a defender of the investigation. Lie. He keeps mentioning students all the time to try to divert the focus and deceive you. That's the Bolsonarist method. When evidence appears against them, they claim it's a crime against them and invent an enemy to try to escape blame. That they carry, the charade continued. At the beginning of May, he even recorded a video wearing a white shirt, lying once again. Shamelessly, there's something important. A lie runs and wears itself out. The truth walks and catches up, and it did. 5 days later, the country watched this. Let's see.
Your father's son was supported bit by bit.
That's a lie. That's not the reason.
It's because we're doing one, for God's sake.
Thank you.
Journalists?
Good job, military personnel.
The journalist asks a legitimate question. And what is Flavio's reaction? Attack the press. He tried to discredit the journalist. He intimidates anyone who asks questions. And when he can't hide the facts, he attacks those who reveal them. But on the same day, the bombshell dropped. The audio for Forcaro was revealed by The Intercept, and everything fell apart. And the close, promiscuous criminal relationship between Flavio Bolsonaro and the central figure in Brazil's biggest financial scandal, Daniel Forcaro, owner of Banco Master, was laid bare.
Brother, I thought it was better to send you the audio here so you could listen to it at your own pace. And even though you gave us the freedom, Daniel, to press you for payment, I feel awkward about having to chase you, okay? But anyway, man, there are already a lot of bills to pay this month. And the next month, too. Can we give you a little reminder, brother?
The same Flavio who denied being close now calls Forcaro his brother. Flavio Bolsonaro, you're not fooling anyone anymore. What started with a request for 134 million for his father's movie turned into a scandal with audio recordings, visits, a close relationship, and public contradictions. He also warned that even a video could show up. But what actually came out? What came to light was the visit he paid to Forcaro at his house while he was already under electronic monitoring in São Paulo. Right after his arrest in December 2025, once again, Flavio Bolsonaro's charade was exposed.
I met with him once more after that event when he started using electronic monitoring. He couldn't leave the city of São Paulo. Yes, I did meet with him to put an end to this story.
What's next, Flavio Bolsonaro? The truth is coming out piece by piece, and no one can keep up this act, these lies, this organized crime anymore. Not even you, Flavio Bolsonaro, nor Ciro Nogueira, nor Eduardo Bolsonaro, nor Mario Frias, because there comes a time when the truth steamrolls the lies. That's why a joint congressional inquiry into Banco Master is urgent. Let's analyze together the timeline of Flavio's shamelessness. That's right.
Pedro, who just left here, showed the timeline very well. Only those who don't want to see it can't see it. And what about the Banco Master inquiry, Andrea? Girl, Flavio lied and was so embarrassed. Wow, Cajuru totally destroyed Flavio Bolsonaro. I showed it on the 8:30 live stream, and Congressman Lindenberg Farias also called him out. Hey, don't leave. And he totally destroyed Flavio Bolsonaro, who was lying there saying he signed the CPMI, the request for the Banco Master CPI. It was all a lie, all a lie. He was so embarrassed, he's just embarrassing himself. Why? Because he wants to act cool and doesn't want to explain anything, as if it didn't concern him. And it's not like that, right? Leon El-Hadi also talked a lot about this whole situation here that I want to share with you. Take a look. Let's turn it up.
You yourself, if you voted for Flavio Bolsonaro, you defend a major criminal. We have 2 more cases involving Mr. Flavio Bolsonaro. The federal police are investigating in Rio de Janeiro the transfer of 200,000 reais from a parliamentary amendment to the Brazão Brothers Institute. For those who don't know, the Brazão brothers are the masterminds behind the murder of Councilwoman Marielle Franco. Both of them are in prison today. And what was happening with this corruption case, now being investigated by the federal police in the state of Rio de Janeiro, the funds were sent to NGOs, to institutes, and then there were retired military police officers involved. Also arrested for ties with the Brazão brothers in the murder of Councilwoman Marielle Franco. What did he do? So, people from these institutes were pressured to pass the money on to the Brazão brothers to fund political campaigns and pay their bills. It was a kickback scheme, something Flavio understands very well. So, we have a direct link between Flavio Bolsonaro and the scheme that supplied and also fueled the corruption scheme involved in the murder of Marielle Franco. I don't even need to remind you that Rony Lessa, one of Marielle Franco's killers, the one who actually shot Councilwoman Marielle, was Jair Bolsonaro's next-door neighbor. And that on the day of the murder, he was at home and was picked up by Elcio Queiroz, who took him from there and drove him to the scene of the murder, right next to Jair Bolsonaro's house. And I also don't need to remind you that these individuals were honored. They were personal friends of Flavio Bolsonaro and Jair Bolsonaro. Adriano da Nobrega was part of this same group called Rio de Janeiro's crime office, the militia. And you still have the nerve to vote for these guys, right? And to say that you're fighting corruption by voting for this kind of individual. But if that's not enough, what we're seeing, the close ties of Flavio Bolsonaro with Banco Master, of Flavio Bolsonaro with Entre Investimentos y Participações, which launders money for the PCC and also for the Italian mafia. If none of this, right, makes you think about it or change your opinion, I'll bring up another investigation that also involves Flavio Bolsonaro. And it's an investigation involving then the governor of Rio de Janeiro, Claudio Castro. In the scheme of embezzlement and tax evasion by Refit, which is a refinery, supposedly a refinery in Rio de Janeiro, and whose owner is Magro. That's his name, right? His nickname is Magro, who is the biggest tax evader in Brazil. And Refit then had agreements within the Claudio Castro government, an ally of Flavio Bolsonaro, from the state of Flavio Bolsonaro. And Refit, through arrangements with Flavio Bolsonaro, even the federal police is reaching that level. And with Claudio Castro, besides evading taxes, they were also laundering money for the PCC and international arms trafficking in Faria Lima. And what was discovered in the federal police's Operation Hidden Carbon? And Flavio Bolsonaro once again involved with Refit, which also had connections with Banco Master and was bringing weapons from the United States to criminals in Brazil, especially in the state of Rio de Janeiro. That's what we're talking about in this electoral process. 2 investigations, in addition to what we already know about Flavio Bolsonaro, who traveled. He went to meet with Vorcaro using public money, paid by the Senate, by public funds, to meet the day after Vorcaro was released. Such was his eagerness to talk to Vorcaro. We now know then that Flavio Bolsonaro sent money to the Brazo brothers' corruption scheme, that Flavio Bolsonaro is linked to the Refit scandal, which laundered money for the PCC involved in international arms trafficking and coordinated policies together with Banco Master. Not by chance, Vorcaro, Flavio Bolsonaro's close friend, was being identified as someone with deep ties to the illegal lottery and the militia in Rio de Janeiro. Interesting, isn't it? Exactly the groups with which Flavio Bolsonaro has connections, in addition to the Comando Vermelho, which also took advantage of Refit to acquire weapons and launder money. Congratulations to the people who voted for them, because these people are some of the most wicked criminals we can imagine. Thank you very much.
In summary, the question is the movie fiction or faction? Is Bolsonaro's movie fiction or faction? Faction, and it's called Bolso Master. It's there for anyone who wants to see. Like the live stream, comment, and share, my beautiful people. Things are getting intense in Brasilia. Vorcaro decided to really spill the beans. All hell is breaking loose.